Okay, here we go. So look, today, um, I got to see, or last night, I watched the first episode of HiJack. HiJack is basically a plane from Dubai to London is hijacked over a 7 hour flight, while authorities on the ground scramble for answers. I'm sorry, let me read that again. A plane from Dubai to London is hijacked over a 7 hour flight while authorities scramble for answers. That's a bad description, but so basically, Hijack, it stars Idris Elba, phenomenal actor, and basically, like it just kind of said, a plane, they're coming from Dubai and they got 7 hours till they make their next destination, and the plane is hijacked in that meantime. I just watched the first episode, so I'm kind of going to give like a review reaction while also kind of showing certain parts of the film. Um, so if you don't want spoiler alerts, then this ain't the place for you. Before I get into it, definitely go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. This is the only channel where you're gonna get like actual parts of the film. Of the series without actually watching the series. So boom, it opens with Idris. He's at the airport. He's basically going to his plane. He's basically going to his plane. You see him at the airport. It's very simple, very straightforward. And you see all the different types of people. So you have this one girl. I'm gonna be skipping through. I'm not gonna show you the whole film, but you have this one girl who is so boom, you have these girls right here. One, two, three. They're part of like a soccer team or something like this. And then you have this nigga right here, the white guy that's putting up the luggage. He's, I guess, their coach or something like that. That's what he's been playing as. But later on, you'll find out that he's actually a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So, they never knew who he was in the first place. So while they're entering the plane, he talks to this check-in lady, and they're going through, I guess, the baggage or the next place. But as they're going through, there's this guy right here who wasn't about to get in, but Idris, he said, "What's it gonna hurt to the check-in lady?" And then she ended up letting him through. So I'm feeling like he's gonna have some type of significant part later on in the series where he might help him, get the plane back or whatever the case may be. So you see all these different types of people. We see this family. We see where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at? We see this girl right here. She's kind of like the snobbish one. Her and the family get into a little argument, or the mom get to a little argument. We got this just giving kind of the backstory of everybody. What's their role on the plane? We got the two pilots, et cetera, et cetera. And then we see this. And then we see Idris. So later on in the film, let me see. So later on in the film, this girl, remember I said this guy is actually the bad guy. So later on in the film, this girl, she goes to the bathroom, right? And so when she goes to the bathroom, um, let me see if I can find it. So she goes to the bathroom, right? And so this is her in the bathroom. And she finds something. She finds something. They don't let you know what they actually find until she shows it. Boom, that's her picking it up. But I assumed it was something that shouldn't be there, obviously, because she's looking at it like, damn, it shouldn't be there. So boom, she brings it back. She brings it back to her teammates. She brings it back to her teammates. They don't know what to do. And then she tells this guy, who again I said is the actual uh, bad guy. Come to find out, what she finds is a bullet. There's a bullet that was in the bathroom, and not anybody can just get a bullet through. So that's a bad sign. This guy, he ends up taking a bullet and then he brings it back to the front to one of the other guys. Um, to one of the other guys. So then later on, so this guy, he's the main guy in charge. All right, let me skip through. So this is the lady that let them through with the bullets and the guns and everything like that. The only reason why she let them through is because back home, I think they have her family and killing her because there's this disturbing phone call on there where you hear, gunshots, whatever the case may be. Um, so, so. So they end up calling the flight attendant and telling them like, "Hey, we found something bad. We found something bad." And everybody's kind of looking around because they can overhear the conversation, but they don't kind of tell him what it is. I don't know why. They could have just said, "Yo, we found a bullet," but they didn't want the rest of the plane to overreact. So they're trying to talk to them on what it is that they found. All along, Idris is kind of walking around because when the coach, the bad guy, walked up to the other head guy, the lead guy in first class, that's where Idris is sitting. Also, he overheard their conversation. And within their conversation, he basically is telling them, "Hey, one of your guys fucked up and messed around and had a bullet." But Idris is kind of peeping game and seeing what's going on. So as he's going, sees that he knows something's wrong and something's going on, because it's a part of his profession. He can see like body language and everything to see like how people are feeling or if something's wrong, the vibe, the energy of the area, which later on I'll talk about. So he gets up and he's trying to see what's going on and what the lead guy's doing in first class. So he gets up and starts to walk around and he notices that only certain people have like wash bags. Let me see if I can find the guy, including this guy, which kicks it off, who he notices first. So then he goes back up front, or as he's walking around, he goes and he talks to this lady and asks, like, "Hey, I didn't get my wash bag on the way in." And she says, "Nobody gets a wash bag." So boom, that tells you everybody that has a wash bag is a bad guy, which it just notices as he's walking back to his seat. Boom, he pulls out the gun. But before he can do anything or notify anybody, this guy pulls out the gun, and all the rest of the people pull out the gun and they take over the plane. So far, they just have the backside of the plane, not where the pilot is or anything like that. So then it cuts to his son and his ex-wife. They're in the house. He's training, and then on the plane, he was receiving text messages from his ex-wife, just talking about her relationship with a new guy. And he was on the plane, I guess, for business or to come see them. And so, you see the son kind of confronting the new guy saying, "Oh, we're letting him sleep over now, et cetera, et cetera." So not too much happens for the rest of the film. These two guys, they debate on whether they're going to try to fight and take over the hijacker just because they think they're about to get, crash into a building, a tower, whatever the case may be. But Idris kind of talks them out of it. And then he talks down this lady. She's kind of like panicking. So she gives us some water. So later on, right now, they collect the phone. So nobody has a phone. And so the pilot calls into the airport and says, "There's a major situation going on." They don't necessarily say what's happening, but they answer. And then he gets the head authorities or whatever the case may be, and to try to contact them again. Um, all this time, basically what's happening is they're trying to get control of the cockpit. They're trying to get control of the cockpit. I think that's what it's called, where the pilot is. So they get this one plane attendee, whatever you call them, flight attendant, and tell her to pick up the phone. They say we need to get he basically hands her the phone and says, "You're about to convince them to let us in there." And she's like, "They're not going to let me in there." Says, "You're going to convince them." Lo and behold, her and the pilot have been having an affair. So they're secretly in love with each other. The pilot has a family, so he uses her to kind of get in his head. First, to talk to the co-pilot. She's like, "No, that's not happening." Then, like a dumbass, the flight attendant or the co-pilot hands the phone to the pilot at the flight attendant's request. She's like, "I need to speak to the pilot." So she hands the pilot the phone like a dumbass. They could have never, this would have never happened if she would have just kept it away from the pilot, which she should have did in the first place. So then he gets the phone and he's talking to this mistress who he's been having an affair with while he has a family. While they're talking, he's basically pointing a gun at her, and she's like, "I need to get in the cockpit. You need to let us in." He's like, "I can't do that," et cetera, et cetera. And then, but they know about their affair. So he says, "Tell him you love him. Tell him, that if you don't let us in, they're gonna kill me," et cetera, et cetera. Manipulate his mind, even though she might not feel that certain way. And she basically is crying, is like, "Please, please, please," et cetera, et cetera. So, he's in his head. They hang up the phone and he has a conversation with her. He's like, "I can't let him in, et cetera, et cetera." But after like 5 minutes, he's like, "I'm gonna open the door." So then they get into a little fight. She tries to stop him, but he's like, "Look, bitch, I'm going to open this fucking door. There's nothing you can do. And if you try to fight me, I will fucking fight you. I will fight you." And he basically picks up this metal water container and beats the shit out of her. He beats the shit out of her because she kept trying. And he just punches her with this shit a whole bunch of times. And then later on, you'll see her face. But that shit is fucked up. So they end up letting the hijackers in. And then the airport towers, when they got the security and the high security people in, they basically call him back and ask, "Is everything okay?" And then our pilot is basically like, "Yes, everything's okay. It was just a misunderstanding." Oh, excuse me, guys. It was just a misunderstanding. He's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Because you said it was a problem." He's like, "No, it was a misunderstanding," et cetera, et cetera. So now up front, we got the pilot, we got the mistress who he's having an affair with. So the hijacker can keep complete control over the pilot. And then we got the bitch that got beat up. You see her in the middle right there, all bloody. Look at her nose. She's fucked up. So, for the rest of the plane, they're just basically taking it over. They ask for everybody's phones, except Idris kind of just lies and says he doesn't have his phone, but he does, and they don't check him because something happens up front. So yeah, she comes back. She sees her family's not there. So he texts his wife. And when he texts his wife, he texts her, "There's a serious incident on the plane." Like, really, nigga? You get one text out and you gonna text, "There's a serious incident on the plane. If I don't make it home, tell my son I love him." That's your one text out, bruh. You could have said, "The plane is being hijacked, nigga. The plane is being hijacked. Call the authorities. I am in trouble." That's the one text he sent out, was, "There's a serious incident." So they don't really know what's happening. His ex-wife doesn't know what's happening. They just know, like, he's on the plane. They don't know if something bad is happening necessarily. They just know it's a serious incident. I thought that was very dumb of the writer to do that because it kind of just ain't make sense. But that's basically it. They his ex-wife and his son and the new guy, they kind of just talk about what they're about to do, if it's true, if it's real. He's like, he wouldn't lie about something like this. And that's basically it, man. And then later on, towards the end, which is the last major part, he basically goes to the front, he stands up, and they're like, sit the fuck down, pointing guns at him. He's like, look, I'm gonna give you an offer. And basically, guys are like, I don't need an offer. And he's like, yeah, he's like, everybody on the plane is basically going to follow directions. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, but there's going to be a few who go against that. And he's like, he just lets them talk. And then while that's happening, the family are basically, this is, the guy that his ex-wife is with now, basically asking the son, like, what does your dad do? They basically explain, like, he handles negotiations for big corporations after a merger happens. So once the merger happens, he comes in and he basically slam dunks the whole meeting, and he handles the negotiations, the terms, et cetera, et cetera. So on the plane, when he's like, yo, I'm gonna offer you something, he's like, I'm gonna help you. He says he's gonna help the goddamn hijackers, which is crazy. But I guess to the point is, he can kind of control the situation a little more if he is able to mediate between them and whatever, them and the authorities discussing whatever they want. So that's the first season. I mean, the first episode. Woo! Excuse me, I'm kind of sick. Woo! But that's the first episode. Out of 10, I would give the opening. It was fairly quick. 46 minutes of the episode. I'll probably give it like a 7. Probably give it like a 7. I definitely recommend people watching it. It's just different parts. And that's him talking to him, telling him, I'm going to help you. It's definitely different parts. So episode 2 is out too. I'm going to go ahead and react to that, review it, let y'all know what happened in episode 2. If you guys want to catch that episode, it'll be the next one I have. I'm going to put them on a playlist. But while I'm doing this, I need you guys to subscribe to my channel. I'm about to start doing reactions heavy now. So all the series, all the new TV shows, I got the hookup on the episodes. So I'm going to just be watching them all. You can get the firsthand discussion from me. So subscribe. Peace. Catch you next episode. Welcome to the Nyce Life.